What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to College. God, it's playoffs time. But before we get to playoffs, I'm going to strike you with a little bit of confusion after watching some playoff matches in our first two series of the evening. LCQ is overlapping some group play, and we still have a handful of matches before we can fully flush out some of our groups. This is one of them in the Western region. Of course, my name is Proper. Joined with me is Katie, and we have to witness a last LCQ match, a best of 5 in between California State University Northridge, the Matadors versus the University of Utah, the Crimson Gaming. This one's going to be a good one for us, Katie.
Yeah, and this is in Group D here of these last chance qualifiers. Crimson Gaming previously took out Gaming Gators as SFSU to get to this point in this third round to try and make it and qualify. We've seen other teams, New Mexico State, CU Boulder, and so on getting there. Crimson hoping to be one of those as well. But take a look at this head-to-head. I mean, when you want to say something feels a little bit lopsided, it might be this. The overall 16-5 season record for Crimson to 11-9 from CSUN. But I mean, the hard point, 17-10 to 10-8. It's not that far off. But I mean, look at the search and destroy and the control. Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of this you would feel would be inflated given how the second split did end up going. I mean, the University of Utah were just mere matches and even just maps away from getting themselves in a better tier, but they played their second split in Tier 3, where they went 9-0, undefeated as it may end up being, comparatively to the Matadors, who were playing in Tier 1, where they only won 2 out of their total 9 series played, one of which was against New Mexico, the other one against, I believe, UC, actually, their only match they ended up winning was against New Mexico. The other one was going to be a forfeit, so definitely not a whole lot of statistics to at least gain any sort of traction on paper for CSUN, but even more so than that, they have to make a strong showing here if they want to see group play in playoffs.
Well, that especially comes true when you're talking about maps 2 and 3. Those are going to be maps you're going to need to at least steal one of those away because it's such a dominant. I mean, 16-4 and 12-4 to 7-5 and 5-2. I'm a little bit concerned about that. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of those lineups and see what we've got. When we look at the home team, that is the Matadors, and take a look at that roster, right? Polo, Ruben, Stuka, and Dylan. I think they can do something, but I do think it's going to hinge again on being able to steal away at least either map 2 or 3. Ideally both, but at minimum 1.
Yeah, you would hope that they would be able to at least make a strong dent into the almost beaming red crimson armor that is Crimson Gaming. The one time that I did end up seeing California State University Northridge play, I believe it was either against Westcliff or Texas State in that Tier 1 group play. And it wasn't a whole lot to write home about. They looked rather disjointed, but hopefully some time in between spring break and where they find themselves now, some VOD was at least able to be studied, and maybe we can see this entire team be really brought up together because they do at least have some strong players. They do have some strong statistics when they were playing out through split number 1. It's just about piecing it all together now that you're playing against some top-cut teams here in the CCL.
Look, they've got a great logo. Maybe that's all they need. I feel like that's going to carry them to victory. I don't know what...
I always forget what a Matador is until I see a picture of one.
Yeah, right? It looks very cool logo, but let's go ahead and take a look at the other side of things. Crimson Gaming. Maybe not as cool of a logo, but who knows? They've got the record that means it might not matter. Take a look at the players in front of you. J-Mag, Justin, Maddie, and Quinny. Looking to get a nice qualification here. Again, guys, we started off with a playoff game previously, but this is a last chance qualifier, so whoever wins this is going to be able to move into that home stretch.
Yeah, and this entire roster, led by the captain of J-Mac, is probably one of the most highlighting players that we can talk about for University of Utah. Crimson Gaming have a great lineup backed up behind J-Mac. Justin Season is going to be that cracked out player that you're going to be really worried about when it comes down to your flanks. But overall, just what was showcased for us in that Tier 3 split number 2 play for Crimson Gaming was that they are fundamentally strong. They immediately had the turnaround after losing to some other teams in the Western region that they probably wanted to be able to win, obviously, to be able to put themselves whether even in Tier 2, if not Tier 1, to be able to look at what things might end up looking like against some other top-cut teams. And as you were already highlighting, as things had progressed for them throughout the entirety of this Group D, we're able to at least take out the Gaming Gators, but I think that you're mostly going to be almost a little worried what things are going to continue to look like for the University of Utah when they do go up against some top-cut teams. We'll talk about the entirety of the best of 5 map set as we are ready to get this one underway. It'll be a Gavutu hardpoint to start things off.
Getting a little break from the Tuscan Berlin slog that we saw previously, and we'll see who strikes first here. Gavutu, we know how wild and crazy it can get, whether you're on control, whether you're on something like hardpoint. But we'll start things out here with the Matadors on your screen. Polo throwing out some tacks, trying to get to that hill first, but the immediate contest, Ruben with the first blood, Dylan follows it up, and so far so good for the Matadors to soak up as much time as they can. The kill feed all red.
Yeah, I mean, it's just bleeding, isn't it? I mean, you had Maddie that was very late towards his rotation, was just waiting on the top side of green. Maybe a player was going to push through shift. Was not the case at all. The Matadors were expecting a traditional 50-50, and well, they ended up getting it, and they win. They have not lost a single gunfight so far. Finally, Quinny will break that mold and take down Polo, but an emphatic opening 30 seconds here for the Matadors before fully taking the rotation over by 2.
Yeah, it's not oftentimes that you see a team come in and they're all perfectly 0-2 like Crimson Gaming was, but I mean, it's despite a few players alongside Polo finally falling for the Matadors, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You've been able to lock down essentially the entirety of P1, and you got to feel very happy about how you did that, especially the fact that you can put in a fairly immediate contest. I mean, Quinny on top boat is going to take you down and get some points onto the board, but Matadors, that was a beautiful start.
Yeah, beautiful start indeed, but now you have to try to convert into a break for P2. It would be an even bigger ask for the Matadors, not only to break P2, but also just flood through the backside of green. It's Crimson that are currently holding on for the spawns. They have top LST control, as Quinn will be able to find that third kill in a row, keeping the Matadors at bay. Still 30 seconds to battle over here inside of the ship, and the setup isn't exactly as strong as you were hoping for, Crimson Gaming. Some help needed to be there. Maddie will finally surface over by the staircase. Also ended up seeing one player cross, but again, top LST control is mostly what you're going to be looking at when it comes down to a very strong hold here on P2, and that's all in the Matadors' favor. But the saving grace going forward, Crimson were at least able to keep this contested for a certain amount of time, plus they still hold those eastern spawns.
I mean, you look at Crimson right now, and based on those stats, you would think that they'd be having a bit of a stronger start, but Maddie has been extremely quiet so far at just 1 and 6. You're going to need him to come alive sooner rather than later, but now Crimson, at least you're set up on the point. You're continuing to chunk down on this deficit, now sub 20 here, and if you can get a full hold, you might have a very comfortable lead. But Ruben with a double kill followed by a nice nade to capitalize on it means Matadors get a full wipe, push right onto the point without too much trouble.
And they know that all of Crimson Gaming are still spawning in effectively 4-3. I mean, Stuka is trying to figure out where these players are located at. Nobody's watching in the backside of jungle, and that should be the activation call for Stuka to finally leave topside of green. But you still have Polo inside the hardpoint. They need some help. Stuka also trying to play from streaks, but would love to be able to pinch this with the rest of their teammates. Finds kill number 5, keep in mind you, and is now soaking up some hardpoint time to boot. CSUN Matadors, they did a great job not only being able to re-break back over towards 3, keeping Crimson Gaming at base, still spawning on the east side of the map. But they're also looking for the rotation to 4 as well.
Stuka knows someone is here, not able to connect on the shots through the bunny hop. Justin takes him out, and now Ruben able to get a trade at least somewhat, but Matador still leading the charge here, and it just seems like they've been one step ahead of Crimson Gaming this entire time and doing a phenomenal job of it. It's constantly Crimson trying to push into them. The one time that they have a hold, it gets broken almost instantly, and if this one can get fended off, Matadors have a pretty solid setup here, and we know how dangerous this hill can be. Stuka able to trade at least one, but now you got to get Crimson off the hill, and what could have been a good setup looks like it's actually getting picked apart fairly effectively by Crimson Gaming.
And now the ball is in their court to hold it from the front. They know that all of the Matadors are still spawning in on that beach side of P4. It's just about getting themselves in a position to be able to put themselves in a limelight to be able to make this a more competitive opening set of hardpoints. The kills will be there, but they need to be able to soak up some time to boot. 15 seconds to the battle over here on 4. It seems that the Matadors are more than aware of this at this moment of time, that they're trying to leave the beachfront, but it's immediately picked up by Maddie. You called out the very slow start for them, but they get the slide and the burn onto Dylan. Knows that there's one more player trying to get on the backs of the jungle. The opening pistol shots would be good, but they can't win the gunfight. But still, spawns will be there for Crimson Gaming to get the initial time of 5.
And we said Maddie needs to wake up. Well, 9 and 11 has done just that. No surprise that that's translating into a consistently slow or closer game than what we saw previously. But Quinny now on a 4 spree, trying to translate that into maybe some streaks. Nice snap, takes out Dylan on top boat. J-Mac follows it up, and Crimson could very well see a lead change here in just a couple seconds. So maybe it took them a hill or two to wake up, but they are here. They are ready to play on Gavutu, and they will take the lead for the very first time. Quinny, unfortunately, looking to shoulder peek's a little too far. Ruben punishes him for it, and what was a brief lead change might swing right back to Matadors here, depending on what happens.
Yeah, you still have to close spawns, though, for Utah when you're thinking about it, so they should be able to reinforce this hill. That'll be Quinn that steps back inside that hard point, but then you got to look at the rotation going in towards the second set. I would say, recovered was that first set coming out from Crimson Gaming, given how P1 into 2 did start going for the Matadors, but now they need to turn P1 into yet another money hill. Very passive setup when you're thinking about it for Crimson Gaming. You have one player on the backside of the lander by P3, players slowly lurking up through the concrete stairs. You also have Quinny going on an isolated play on the backside of the Radio Shack, and albeit they'll be able to find a kill, they completely conceded the opening 20 seconds of this hardpoint.
Crimson now holding on with a sliver of a lead. Quinny just trying to finesse, still managing to stay alive and keep that streak usage potential if he can net together a couple more, but you're gonna have to deal with a consistent onslaught of players from the Matadors flooding onto that hill. But if they're not looking the right direction, doesn't really matter. Quinny now on 5 in a row, 18 and 10, gets tagged up by another, but still doing such a good job of playing his life in and around this hill. Finally falls to Stuka, and the scrap time will go Matadors' way, but what seemed like a strong start for them really feels like they're slowing down.
Starting to feel like that Crimson Gaming are really heating up, though, when you're thinking about it. I mean, there was a certain point in time that Maddie was about triple negative. Now they're 12 and 17. Quinny was threatening to go on streaks, I believe, twice on over. Now 18 and 12. Now you look at the setup inside of P2. You do have at least JMac on top LSC, but they can't find the gunfights in their favor. Now it's all up to Maddie to at least hold the space for now. But they know that they have Matadors in around this hardpoint. At least Crimson Gaming did have those close cliff spawns, so they'll be able to resurface themselves going in towards 2.
Maddie just eyes in the sky, not able to find anything as his teammates make kills around him. Happy to just sit on that hill, soak up that time as Crimson continues to extend out that lead, trying to make it at least a 30-point deficit, give themselves some comfort if maybe they miss out on some early rotations or have some trouble breaking a hill. But it's Polo who flies in and tries to cause some consternation, just playing for his life, running into everyone at once and not able to turn it into any more kills. But now it's JMac on the other side for Crimson here, who's sitting on 5, potential to turn that into some streaks if he can find a couple more. And JMac here on your screen, just slowly pushing toward that back. Knows that Polo is nearby, but Matadors at least taking up as much time as this can before Crimson kind of puts together a full push. And, well, this opening kill might be exactly what they needed to get into this backline.
Well, JMac finding kill number 6. Knows that there's one player behind the rock. Quinny will get a cleanup onto Ruben. JMac still searching for kill number 7. Would be big to have the glide bomb. Has to go prone, but Dylan will shut it down. Break potential was here for Crimson Gaming. They have fully flipped out the entirety of the map. They have the closer spawns over by 3, but they can't get inside the hardpoint, not reliably. All of the Matadors still have top ring control, and that means that they can at least overwatch the entirety of P3. Finally, Ruben pushes on forward, gets themselves inside that safety net of the lander. So Crimson Gaming with these close spawns still trying to threaten it for the back end of the 10 seconds, and they have to hit all the way through P3, get past the middle of the map, because they also are aware that the Matadors have the close spawns for 4.
Not only that, but they now have the lead change coming their way, 177, and they've brought it back. They've also got the new hill, and, well, a nice opening shot from Ruben to push Quinny back into spawn, and they're going to need to try and find a pick. They're able to get just one, but this full push through the bottom of the map could prove deadly to them if the shots are here for Matadors, and now those players starting to find their way in. Dylan waiting, snaps one on his right, not able to connect, but takes out Quinny, does let his team know, and they will be able to take him out a la Polo. Now they cross that 200-point mark, but JMac in the back maybe able to get himself a double, open things up so Crimson Gaming can get on to this point. Still more than enough time here, but they do not have the spawns, and the trades go back and forth as they're just trying to hold on. But it's Ruben with a double who gives them control of the point once again, but the contest from Crimson immediate.
Like 2 ships in the night, previous gunfights to that one, JMac completely passes Stuka unaware around a rock, and Stuka was that player that was still blocking the spawns and held it in favor for the Matadors, which is why you didn't see the spawns get flipped. This lead is starting to grow. It might be too far gone if you are Crimson Gaming, but you need to have a lockdown hold here on 5, and they have the setup to do it. But they're unbeknownst to them, Dylan has completely slipped the net. They're all the way on the backside of green, and now the spawns have flipped, and now Justin needs to go big. They do find the first. They get some help from Quinn to take down Suka as well. Holding them at bay are Crimson Gaming, looking to get some time here on 5.
You get the flip, but you can't convert that into the kills to get on to the point. Then what does it matter? A good job from Crimson to stall out that push, but this is where it comes in. Dylan and Ruben get there first, too. They are on the point, if but for a moment. JMac trying to cause as much trouble as he can, but gets shot in the back by Dylan, and Polo the trades back and forth, but it finally feels like Matadors are stabilizing here as Quinny, well, takes a little bit too far of a step the map and pays the price for it. Matadors more than happy to not have to worry about the pressure from him for the time being, as they'll continue to soak up this time. They cannot win it here, but they can put it very, very close.
Yeah, I mean, they're only going to need a whole 3 seconds, and they already have player number 3 of Dylan on that rotation. The route man looking to get played, gets caught with the nade out, then resurfaces the gunfight. J-Mac will win it, so the rotation is here for Crimson, but you need to play flawlessly. You can only realistically give up 3 seconds here on one, and Polo's trying to make the pinch play happen, gets caught up on a rock. Maddie will go down, knows that there's one more player inside of the AA gun itself, but you still have trades on the board for Crimson Gaming here for the initial time.
Well, maybe if he doesn't get caught with that nade, that's all the time they need. But suddenly Crimson set up, and Matadors, they're spawning far away. They have to break into this hill, and they don't have a lot of time to do it. Crimson passing the 230 mark, and Quinny here, a nice prone position, but suddenly Ruben able to get one. Quinny here with the trade. Stuka doing everything he can and holding on desperately, but now they just can't make it happen. The trade's still going in favor of Crimson as they push it now to within just 8 points of closing out this lead. They can win it here, and Matadors have just struggled to find purchase on this hill, and they have to fly, but they can't get there in time. It all comes down to getting caught out with that nade. If you can win that gunfight, you win this map, and it was Matadors to lose, and fortunately they were not able to close it out, 247 to 250.
The trades were all there. They were constantly finding the trades through concrete stairs and on the backside of the beach, but they never had a second player nearby to reinforce the hill, and that's just the one thing that Crimson Gaming continuously had going in towards B1 for the initial setup. And you're right to end up calling out the one simple fact that if the nade wasn't in hand, trying to at least hold the space, maybe you walk away going 1-for-1 in that position, buy more time for the Matadors to get more players inside of the anti-air gun around the beachfront to at least dissuade all of Crimson Gaming from getting the setup that they were end up holding there to be able to get the final points necessary. But very rare circumstances do I end up finding myself saying you got to have a strong and a shutout performance on P1. They only allowed a single second and some contested time at that to come through on P1. A lockdown hold on P1. Crimson Gaming put themselves back into the driver's seat to win by a whole 3 seconds. They had such a slow start, though Quinn in the middle of that map there towards the end finds themselves with only 4 traded kills, 30 and 23 for the kid. Even from top to bottom, I mean, the only thing that really does stick out is that Maddie went 19 and 28. It felt like that all Matadors were doing a bang-up job of just playing together. Nobody really outslayed the other. The only thing that can really just speak volumes is that Queenie did pick up where Maddie was not finding any kills.
I mean, you have to wonder in the Matadors case, yes, you put yourself just 3 points away from closing out the map, but should you have just given up that scrap time, focused your energy on the next hill and making sure you could at least immediately contest it? And I think, yes, we talk about getting caught with a nade in your hand, but if more of the team had been there to back him up and maybe get that trade or at least stop Crimson from being able to set up such a strong hold, it could have been a very different ending. But I think, unfortunately, too many of them sitting at the old hill, not able to get there in time. And then, of course, Crimson able to get that set up. And for Maddie, yeah, 19 and 28, not even the hill time to make up for it. But at the end, thankfully, you get out of it, and it doesn't really matter because you won the map.
Get that song by Linkin Park on repeat. In the end, it does not matter at all. The Matadors held themselves a great lead at the end of the first set of hard points. Then trades started coming all the way through. Crimson Gaming put themselves in constant positions to get in for the initial time, work themselves a couple of spawn traps, and break hard points like 4 through the front through 2 sets, Katie. That's not exactly something that we see every single day here on Vanguard. As we take a look at the best of 5 series in the overlay for it as well. Tuscan Search and Destroy is on the docket. Vutu Control will be the guaranteed map number 3, but if we have to go to the distance, we have a Berlin hardpoint for map 4, and then we'll end things on Bocage for Search and Destroy if it goes with full distance.
And I just get anxious because Matadors, when you looked at it, their stats, at least for these modes, it was going to be the hard point where they could strike and strike early. They needed to do that. We said already that when it comes to the S&D and Control, you are vastly blown out of the water by the success Crimson Gaming has found. So if you're already starting this in an 0-1 hole and you let that such a close map 1 slip away from you, I've got to feel nervous for them. If that frustration carries over, if they are a little unhappy with what exactly happened in that map, and then they get mollywopped in this Search and Destroy, I could see a world where they simply collapse in map 3. But who knows? We could see a bounce back depending on how these maps play out. S&D could be where they bring it into a 1-1 series, and who knows? Maybe even push to that map 4, maybe even a map 5.
you almost have to hope that they can end up stealing away the search and destroy, if not the control as well, because going back to the head-to-head series overview is that Hardpoint was probably going to be the best bet for the Matadors to be able to upset Crimson Gaming. Again, you're looking at a tier 3 team of Crimson Gaming that probably did not want to be there, obviously. I mean, why would you be? But, like, still at the same moment of time, California State University Northridge, they got blown out of the waters during tier 1. That they needed to be able to have a strong showcasing here, and specifically on Hardpoint. To be able to say that you have to beat a 16-4 University of Utah on a Tuscan Search and Destroy is going to be difficult, to say the least, especially now that Quinn can become more activated with an SMG. They love to be that instigator, trying to fish out for first bloods. It'll be interesting to see how CSUN try to answer back after a devastating 3-point loss on the Kavutu Hardpoint.
I mean, you kind of just have to, out of sight, out of mind, right? That map didn't happen. Don't focus on it. All you have is the 6 rounds that you need to collect here on this Tuscan Search and Destroy. And Justin throwing out an opening nade, but it's Quinny who finds that first blood. You said he was activated, and indeed he is. Strikes first. Man advantage to Crimson Gaming as they look to punish the missteps of Matador in the map prior. They'll go for this bomb plant here maybe in just a second, maybe decide to back off, try and find out Stuka. J-Max able to do that. And now you know when you're in this position of a 4v2, you have that time to get that bomb plant if you so choose. But Quinny actually really liked this spot, just hovering just underneath. So Dylan, no easy sight lines for him to get a pick, but the bomb finally planted here. Ruben in that back spawn area, but is going to run into J-Max if he's not careful.
Almost got the better of him as well. And then it had to have been 2 heroic plays on both sides of Ruins to come all the way through, as you were seeing there at the very end. Last player alive for the Matadors tried to go for a full-on wrap on the backside of P3. That was Dylan that tried to make that heads-up play. Didn't even catch the immediate information via the stun grenade that the bomb was in fact being planted over at A. But it's really all thanks to what Quinny did at the beginning of the round. I mean, yeah, they only found that first kill, but finding that immediate kill over inside a church and then just holding that position meant that the Matadors were not going to be able to retake the middle of the map with any relative ease. From there on out, individual gunfights not going their way. So much of the fact that nobody from Crimson Gaming got blooded at all. Going to call for a very respectable defensive setup. Dylan looking for a player would be Justin to push all the way through this broken wall. And here he comes through the door. Should be a first and easy kill for Dylan. It sure will be.
And Stuka was able to get that first blood as well, so a much more profitable offensive round for Matadors. Now find themselves in a similar position to Crimson. Just 1 round to go, although they do not have that bomb player on A. It looks like they're going to wrap over toward B. They will go right into Matty, who might even be able to get one depending on how quickly they trickle through this doorway. But the check comes in, and well, he's able to get the bomb carrier. Can he snap on a new? No, just one. Dylan will get the trade, pick that bomb back up, and now it's all on J-Mac to do the long, lonely run over toward B as the bomb goes down. He will not be able to stop the plant, but we'll see if he can get the 1v3 and the defuse.
I mean, you look at the post-plant setup as well, and a 1v3. Ruben is inside of P5, and then any sort of flank potential comes all the way through. It won't come through with relative ease. J-Mac inside of radio. Has so many angles to clear away, and Ruben resurfaces over by patio and will take down J-Mac. And yeah, a lot better look on that offense for the Matadors when you're thinking about it. Again, patience does pay off there for a lurking player inside of top maps. Waits for Justin to push through the doorway or the broken wall, gets the easiest kill of their life. And then that was also in succession for a first blood that came through over by Ruins. Getting yourself in a very early 2v4 like that is forcing Utah's hand to play in a way that they have to go big or they get shut out of the round, and that's absolutely what does come all the way through. The Matadors playing very, very strong when they do have the numbers in their favor. But Crimson, on another offensive push, going to be looking to see if Quinn can find that first blood again. Some early shots had come through from Maddie, but nobody was watching the middle of the map, which allows Polo to come inside of you for free.
For free indeed, but Justin and Maddie answering back, not happy with how that first blood went and punishing Matadors for perhaps what they see as a misstep. Now Dylan and Ruben on their own. Justin hovering around that A bomb site. Not safe for him to go for the plant just yet. As you can see, Dylan just waiting there and punishes him for it. Scurries away with his life as well. Now bomb stranded at A and a 2v2. Your man advantage lost. I like that play. Backs all the way up. Your Dylan wraps back around toward the middle map to take that upper power position. And Dylan, I think if he had peeked out to the left, might have been able to spot Maddie out and get a kill, but unfortunately not able to do so, as looks like Quinny, for the meantime, right now, and Dylan having a little bit of a face-off. Ruben happy to just sit back all the way into their spawn and wait. Quinny Picking up that bomb, and you don't have a lot of time at this point. 20 seconds, you got to get that plant, but this is where you push up. Maddie able to get one and give them clearance to plant, and now it's all on Dylan, who is not anywhere near that bomb site.
And it's planted for Maddie up top in fire as well, and Quinny can just isolate themselves over inside of you. Dylan needs to go big. They got time to do this, and he might actually catch some great timing. He will take down Maddie, knows that Quinny is probably still located over by you, gets the shoulder thrown. Quinny just needs to stay alive, goes for the reach out, but over top of the bomb site, Dylan survives with 4 HP on a 5 spree as well. Massive moments from Dylan in the closing moments of that round, and also at the beginning, keep in mind you, be able to get the trades plus the defuse, keep the Matadors going and rolling, winning 2 rounds in a row.
And that, I mean, you have bomb down, it's planted for you, you have a 2v1 situation. That's, you can't let that happen, what occurred there. I mean, keep in mind as well, he still has to defuse. If you're one shot, you can always back up. There's a lot of room for you to play around that bomb being planted. I didn't necessarily love seeing that reach out, and what you said as well. Now Dylan on 5, very close to streaks, and in a map like this, those can be deadly. So Matadors, nice job for them to get 2 in a row, but Crimson, first time maybe we've seen a major misstep from them.
And again, just continuing on with the hot hand. Ruben finds first blood onto Quinny, who was trying to get aggressive through Monument. It doesn't pay off. Again, no one watching the middle of the map. 2 ships in the mud again. Dylan completely passes over Justin before he fully clears it out. Hey, J-Mac, how's it going? Number 6 in a row for Dylan. Numbers advantage significantly in the favor for the Matadors.
And Dylan looking so comfortable. Maddie takes him out. A nice angle to cut shy those streaks. He's got to be frustrated about that. But Dylan just seeming so confident in his hyper-aggression in and around Tuscan. Ruben able to pick up that bomb in a 2v2, but you're going to have to get it planted and execute on that, especially when you run into Justin's barrel and he takes you out. Can he make it 2 in a row? Yes, he can. Crimson stop the bleeding. Answer back to make it 2-2.
A 2v3 as well, Katie. They had the numbers advantage. You also cleared away all on the backside of the flank thanks to Dylan taking down a lone player on top field. And that's just got to be so frustrating if you are Dylan. Like, you lost that one player for the Matadors over by the A-bomb, but almost assumed for them to be on the offensive side of you was not the case, was bottom fire. Crimson Gaming just catch the Matadors by surprise, continuously trying to get aggressive. Now they have to convert this into an offensive round. Even up the round count, 2-2. Already have some early shots coming through from Maddie. J-Mac does find Stuka on the backside of Ruins. That'll open up the A lane for the time being, but still, middle of the map has not been cleared for Crimson Gaming.
It has not been cleared, and, well, Quinny punishing Polo for trying to make a play. Matadors now down to a 2v4 situation. Ruben hovering in the back spots. J-Mac, nice tracking with the auto, able to take him out. Now moves into Church to see if he can find anyone else. But still, Crimson, once again, you have man advantage and you have the bomb down. This should convert into a round win. Dylan spots one. Nice trigger discipline. Doesn't go for him. Shoots Justin in the side, and suddenly... Oh no, this is looking like a story that we've already read once before. Dylan sticks the defuse, but pays the price for it. Now you're into a 1v1, but it's Quinny who comes out on top. And this is another scenario. I feel like we've seen this twice now. And yes, Crimson wins this one. But Andy, I'm just getting nervous that they keep having such significant leads when they have the bomb planted. And it seems to come down to these nail-biter scenarios.
Yeah, almost where you don't necessarily want it to, right? I mean, in a post-plan situation where you're dedicating at least one player to go on the backside of P3, wait for the full flank to come all the way through, you have to pick up the angles that aren't going to be watched during that moment of time. This is what Dylan has been exploiting continuously through 5 rounds now worth of play. Finds themselves at 7-3 for crying out loud. Combine that along with Maddie at 6-3. It just feels like the battle of 2 SMGs right now. But even more so than that, offensive push is starting to formulate itself inside of top maps. This is all off of what Dylan can find in the middle of the map. Throws some shots, gets away, was just a mere bullet away from losing their life. That's
huge that he was able to stay alive. If he gets caught out like that, it potentially blows apart any chance they have of trying to push onto this bomb site. But now Justin spots them out, and you can see the rotation coming in from Crimson Gaming. They know that it's not going to be an A-bomb site push. J-Mac flying back through their spawn to provide support, as is Maddie. Quinny still lurking around there, but it's Dylan again who's able to strike first, takes out Justin time after time. It just feels like Justin continually being caught unaware as these players push in, and now Dylan, that hyper aggression, he will fly toward the spawn. Maddie on the lip of that wall takes a shot, and finally he falls. Polo with the trade. Stuka follows it up, and just like that, it's a 3v1. J-Mac all on his own, and the bomb is going down.
Oh, and J-Mac has a sniper as well. I'll see one peek. Nice shot. will take down Ruben, but needs to put on a highlight-esque performance, a montage, if you will, a Marco-esque performance, as we like to call it here in CCL, but it simply just won't be. Nice little rotation coming through from the Matadors, and you're right to highlight again, just Dylan getting the better of Justin more often than not. It's just the overall aggression that you're almost just unaware. It's like in those ranked matches where like you just get wildly pushed in aggressive state, that you're almost hoping that one of those angles are being watched, but as the island player on the backside of column, you have to be hyper aware, if not have a second player rotate all the way through that was previously looking to the bottom side of Church, if not over by A, to go in for a full-on B defense. It just wasn't there quick enough. Matadors are continuously trying to win out through aggression on their offensive rounds. Crimson Gaming trying to put on their best hand. They have immediate Ruins control, but no information where the Matadors are located at.
Well, Ruben at least lets them know where one is, takes out Maddie for the first blood. Stuka following it up, and a beautiful job from them on this defense to get those clean kills and stay alive. We'll see if Polo can get out. He does that. J-Mac looking to push into him and gets the kill. At least one to even up the odds somewhat, but with Ruben taking out Justin again, it's J-Mac all on his own. It's looking very much so like it's going to be Matadors taking a 4-3 lead. And you have to ask the question proper. We expected based on numbers. I mean, this is a 16-4 team, Crimson and S&D, and that's not what we're seeing play out on this map.
Yeah, again, I want to hit it one more time. A lot of the negative stats and conversations about California State University Northridge got heavily inflated or deflated, as it may end up being, after a disastrous Tier 1 run through in split number 2. When you're thinking about they were in the same group as ASU, Ottawa Braves, ICC, St. Edwards. I mean, I could sit here and just list everybody off because the Western region is absolutely stacked, but even more so than that, they are showcasing great talents and abilities, and that's all based around what Dylan's able to find continuously. Also, the AR, Stuka finds kill number 5 in a row. Quinny trying to get aggressive again, loses their life for it.
Stuka now sitting on 5, Ruben at 2. So beautiful the way he slid in and just snaps into that shot. A fast bomb plant as well, and all the pressure shifting onto Crimson Gaming. Not only do you have to deal with the pressure of bomb being down, but you know if you lose this round, you're going to have to get 3 straight if you don't want this to go to a map 4 scenario. J-Mac, a nice pull down with the snipe despite the flinch, gets the shot, but Ruben again there to answer Mac. J-Mac making it 2, and just like that, what was an early Matadors advantage, now 2-2, but you don't have any time left. If you're Crimson, you got to defuse that bomb, and unfortunately, Matadors are not going to make it easy for you. You got one taken shot. Stuka, another onto Justin. J-Mac with the 3rd snipe, but gets cut down. Matadors, 5-3.
What? I mean, yeah, they're down in round count, but what is that? It's 1 kill, the drag down, hit flinch aside. It's the snapper. The one top fire. I mean, my heavens.
Wow.
Okay. Well, even aside from that, you just need to be able to piece it all together. Again, Quinn, apart from that first round, has not found value in their aggressive pushes. They are double negative now, 3 and 6. The last time they were on offense, tried to get on the bottom side of Church. No information was gained from Crimson Gaming at the beginning of their rounds. Sun over the top, over by Ruins, won't find anything for J-Mac. They just have to hold the space for now. They're still trying to go for this quick plan at A, and it seems that the Matadors are going to allow them to do it.
Yeah, and we haven't been able to see a ton of Justin's POV as he does briefly get tagged up, gets the bomb down, and moves to safety. But just seems like he's lacked a bit of awareness on this map, consistently getting shot in the side or otherwise just not being prepared for the pushes coming his way. And now Dylan once again mid-map, but it's Quinn. You said wasn't finding value up until now, at least able to get the first blood, an immediate trade, but Polo flies through mid-map, gets shot in the back, forced to back off. Potentially a life-saving move from Crimson to stop him getting into their spawn, and now time starting to dwindle. Stuka stops firing, and Maddie follows it up. Justin with another, and Polo left on his own, trying to save the day to close the map out, but Crimson bring it within 2. See if they can push around 11.
Keeping their heads above water here, and again, as I was highlighting, Quinny not finding value and get aggression throughout the entirety of the map. They actually fully put away the submachine gun and pull out an automaton just lurking down over on top. P5 drops down inside of the stairwell down by Well. They were able to at least find a player trying to get aggressive through the middle of the map. It was the other aggressive player, which was Dylan at 9 and 5. That's a great kill to be able to be found for yourself, given how much value Dylan has found in their aggressive state. Big round as well, shutting down streaks galore for the Matadors. 3 players strong, looking at this Ruin side, and you have Dylan on an island play, but Quinn, again, wants to get in their heads rent-free, finds first blood, gets out with their life.
This is what you needed from him. Can he convert it into 2? Unfortunately, the shot's not there, but at least able to get 1. J-Mac, though, with a double of his own, and suddenly Crimson, another 3v1 situation. Dylan trying to just keep it alive, has acquired the bomb, slips away to potentially try and push over toward that B bomb site, but that's where Justin is ready and waiting. Actually turning around, heading back toward A. A bit dangerous, considering you're going to go through the mid-map in a 1v3. You would imagine at least one person is watching you, and, well, yeah, that's going to be a death for Dylan. I don't know if he thought he was going to find more purchase there mid-map, but just like that, it is indeed a round 11. Here we go.
Matty was so pushed back into the bottom side of Broken, didn't even see a barrel sticking out there from the corner from the bottom well stairs. Even more so than that, we love these adaptations that are coming out from Crimson Gaming. Again, the aggression pays off for Quinny to find that first blood, but even more so than that, because there wasn't a lot of pushback across the Ruin side, the rest of the AR lineup ended up pushing up along with Quinn in that specific position. A nice number 11 above that door. Thank you so much.
Beautiful 11.
Love 11. But even still, what they don't love 11 of is the Matadors allowing multiple rounds in sequence one another. Dylan's going to get caught in an aggressive state again, leaving these 3 players all on their lonesome over by this Ruin side, trying to work this planet A is becoming a little bit more scarce.
And Maddie with another nice kill onto Ruben. And Matadors, you were up 5-3, and now you're down 2 players to 4, fighting to not lose the map that should have been yours. Maddie with another. And just like that, Stuka is all on his own in an impossible situation. 45 seconds left. Bomb stranded at A. You are surrounded by enemies. Your hopes of bringing this to a 1-1 have slipped away, and it'll be Justin dealing the final blow. Crimson Gaming, from a 5-3 deficit, they bring it back, they take it home, and they'll take a 2-0 lead.
Oh, man, that's got to be so frustrating for the Matadors out of CSUN, man. When you're thinking about it as a whole, they were finding continuous value 3 rounds in a row. They were getting away with highway robbery. Dylan was just existing, full flanking at more often than time. You had both Dylan and Stuka so close, just 1 kill away from getting themselves a glide bomb. Would have been the final resource needed to get themselves that final round necessary to tie up the series 1 apiece. But quick adaptations coming through for Utah to be able to say, hey, look, we're not the team that's going to be getting aggressive. We need to watch our angles. We need to give more peace of mind to where these avenues are being exploited from. And then Dylan became a non-benefactor. Even the slight adaptation that came through from Quinny, put away the submachine gun, watch a lane with an automaton. They shut down any mid-map antics that Dylan was looking for in that round. And it brought so much respect for Utah against CSUN that they had to play more respected in the backside of their base, get more creative with their setups. And then from there on out, they put all of their marbles in the bag that Dylan in that round 11 was going to be able to make an island play happen for themselves, but was not expecting a lurking player top patio to shut it all down. And Utah just played to the information trade of Bountiful to be able to find those last few players, just forcing out a 1v odd situation. Crimson Gaming, they're keeping it a lot closer than I'm sure they wanted to, Katie, but still up 2-0 the series nonetheless.
Hey, at the end of the day, you were able to make the comeback and close out the map, so you're certainly happy with that. And I love you pointed out about Quinny, right, is that he starts off strong and then really flounders through a decent amount of rounds, but it seems like made that mid-map adjustment to change the play style to be able to start counteracting Dylan and have more of a presence. And in those final few rounds, he was really pivotal in helping Crimson not only get those man advantages on the map, but be able to convert them into those round wins. So a great job across the board from them. Maddie and J-Mac into the double digits. No one from Matadors able to say the same thing, but I mean, this is now 2 maps in a row where you have a 247 and you lose. You're up 5-3 and you lose. I don't see how they can come back in a map 3 here. If that doesn't demoralize you, I don't know what does.
Katie, my mental is boomed for the Matadors at this point. I mean, that is, whew, you just simply cannot let that happen. Put it in the file cabinet. It is there right now. You gotta reverse sweep. Matadors, if you want to take this series and see group play in playoffs, Crimson Gaming, on their other hand, looking like they are going to stand tall in doing so. We already talked about the statistical odds against California State University, Northridge, and their struggles continuously through Tier 1. Walking into this matchup 7-5 for Search and Destroy, but they are 5-2 for Control, able to at least convert a handful of map 3s. throughout their tenure of regular season play. 12-4 for Crimson Gaming. It has to be a line wall of a defense here for the Matadors if they want to be able to walk away with this one. Their ARs were definitely beaming at the early get-go of the Gavutu hardpoint, but they could not close it out, as you see, that 3-point win for Utah. You just hope that it all gets pieced together, that the mental is not too far gone. Start the reverse sweep on the control.
And this can be tough, right? Gavutu control can be extremely punishing, especially on those offenses. And Matadors, maybe if they can steal one away early, or at least deny one early on to Crimson, that could make a huge difference. But when it comes to something like losing the way you did in those first two maps, that mental can play a huge role in how you play in that final map. Sometimes we'll see those teams who are able to dig deep, rally together, and steal away a win, especially if Crimson maybe assumes that they can go on to cruise control with a 12-4 control record and just run through Matadors. There is an opening there for them to take advantage. But if that baggage is weighing on their shoulders proper and they come into this playing like they're going to lose, it could potentially be a bloodbath. So I think there's an opening there for them. We'll see if they can go through the door, but it's going to be a tough one.
Got to have the winner's mentality. It's absolutely going to be tough. I mean, to reverse sweep a white-hot University of Utah, take everything that we were just talking about in the camp for the Matadors and quite literally flip the script, and I'm sure with how Crimson Gaming are starting to feel for themselves going in towards this map number 3 is that they got to be feeling pretty damn confident in their ability not only to be able to walk away with what gun skill that they were able to showcase for us going back through the past 2 maps, but also the simple fact that they walked away with highway robbery. Again, 3-point win on the Gavutu hardpoint, a round 11 winning 3 rounds in a row on the Tuscan Search and Destroy. Then it all has to get pieced together here on the Gavutu control. You just have to shut it down if you are the Matador. Set yourself up for any bit of success, because you know the way that University of Utah like to play out their maps. They love to start off aggressive until it does not work out for them. That if we constantly see Dylan finding value as even a standalone SMG just rotating throughout the map scot-free, then this could honestly go in their favor, but it's a big if, given how big of a map Gavutu control could truly be.
Yeah, lots of nooks and crannies, places to hide, and I agree. If Dylan can convert that hyper-aggression as an SMG and get those picks, maybe catch some of the Crimson players with their pants down, then you can make those plays. But I just think at this point it might be a war of attrition. Say you are able to take this map, you have to get every single map after this, and that's where I start to question, do you have the clutch factor? Because now it's been 2 maps in a row where you've shown that you don't. So again, crazier things have happened when it comes to Call of Duty, but I think when you have to look at Crimson side, they've been playing this very well. I think especially from a team that keeps kind of coming back from the brink and being able to close it out. Granted, you do have to look at that and then say, you objectively look like the better team. Why do you have to keep clutching up and having that ice to come back from a 5-3 or down to a team that's 247? That's certainly a question worth exploring, but at the end of the day, you're closing out those maps, you're getting those wins, and you're trying to make it a 3-0 here.
We'll have to see. It would be a confidence boost, maybe in the weirdest shape of form for the University of Utah. Crimson Gaming looking to keep their heads held high going into playoffs. Again, this entire region is stacked, to say the least, when it comes down to playoffs, given how they would end up being slotted into a position where they have to win out and place top 2 as far as group play is concerned. They would be in there with Oklahoma Christian, Redbirds of what we saw earlier today, and LA Tech. After their series had concluded. Offense to start things off here for the Matadors. Going to be going for broke here to start off for B for their opening offense.
And, well, they'll get a stun straight to the face. We'll slow them down just a bit, but we'll start working toward that point, figure out exactly where they want to go, but might not be anywhere at all as Justin and Quinny strike first. Ruben able to tie it up somewhat, but whatever push they were trying to work together seems to have not gone anywhere fast, as most of the Matadors will be relegated to a respawn already, 26-29. I don't know if they maybe initially wanted to go toward that B push, but did not find any winning numbers there, and now Quinny picking apart Polo, and so far, Crimson doing a good job of stopping any pushes, any momentum that the Matadors are trying to build.
Yeah, and then Quinny just continues to exist down here over by the cliff path, has a double weapon setup so they can take these longer lines of sight looking over by the radio shack while the rest of their teammates just hold the line of scrimmage past the middle of the map. And this is a wonderful pinch that's also set up by Justin, who also has the beach control in their favor. Quinny is able to find kill number 5 in a row, looking to threat for some shrieks on the early stages of this Gavutu control.
To be clear, it was 29-26. It's now 26-18. is how severe this deficit has been. J-Mac with a double. J-Mac sitting at 5, but gets caught reloading. Polo with the kill to stop any streaks there. And finally, with 8.7 left on the clock, they find some purchase, but not for too long. As again, Justin and Maddie cutting down any opportunities Matadors seem to find. And with the final time ticking down, Ruben will get there with 3.5 left on the clock. But you got J-Mac to your left, and you know you got Justin somewhere ready to spoil any play you make. And just like that, Crimson, a solid aggressive defense that pays off. It really felt like Matadors from the beginning weren't able to put anything together to make a mounted, concerted effort onto either point.
Yeah, look, when you try to go for the B zone in the early stages of an offense for Kavutu control and you lose as emphatic as they did, you're going to know that there's going to be players inside of your spawn from Crimson Gaming. If you cannot find those kills, you're staring at a spawn trap situation. You're right to at least bring up one thing, is that it was 29 to 26, and then it quickly came down to about 18 seconds remaining on the clock and only about 17 respawns for the Matadors. So now Crimson Gaming winning that last defense, negating any tick progression for the Matadors, are feeling their hot hand to try to push off the B off the rip.
Yeah, but we know how difficult offense can be, maps like this, and control in general. So Crimson, just because you found the success in round 1 on defense does not mean you'll find it. Here, Apollo loose inside of J-Back just enough to lose the gunfight, but Dylan there and able to get that trade. So Crimson similarly stalled out like we saw for the Matadors in round 1, down about 3 lives. As when he tries to find his way onto the boat, does get stunned as Ruben picks up a double, followed by Dylan. And Crimson, well, they thought this was going to be a cakewalk. They have been proven wrong. A spawn trap now set up by Matadors. You have Dylan over on the top. At least one able to break through toward the bottom. And Quinny finds another around the boat. But still, Crimson losing so much time simply trying to stabilize their team. Justin maybe working his way toward that mid-map. Wins a gunfight onto Polo. But they're going to have to get onto the point quick. They are running out of time.
That's a big 2 kills that do come through, and there was some focus from Justin to get top ring control, so that kind of splits up the defense for the Matadors. Top LSC control needs to be here. They're kind of hesitating. Finally, Quinny will try to get up here, and they're also putting J-Mac down low over towards the A-zone. They'll stall the clock at 14.8 seconds. Polo will at least get that kill, but trades are coming all the way through. You need to clear the middle of the map, which they can only do in so much favor. I mean, Crimson Gaming, they just simply can't find themselves a convincing kill feed to get themselves on the zone reliably. What happened for the Matadors on their opening offense would almost be a recurring song for an offensive push for Kavutu control here for both of our teams. No tick progression to speak of so far for our 2 teams.
No, and both teams making the similar opening play, both teams being punished for it and having that play spiral into an offensive loss. And we'll see really the race to kind of who can win a offense first, or at least get enough tick progression that they have defense if we get to that round 5. Now, Quinny and J-Mac both into double digits. No one on their team in particular struggling, but still just couldn't get through Matadors, especially considering that opening play. This time around, Matadors not all doing a full frontal assault through the top of the map. They will try and head immediately toward A with a trade on either side, but Crimson will be able to push them off for the time being, although Polo looking to capitalize on control through the top of this boat, give Matadors some breathing room to get toward A, as it looks like Stuka might be trying to cause some shenanigans over toward that B point.
2 players still lurking over here, and then also had Justin at least keep in mind that ring control at least needs to be contested. We'll end up at least cleaning up that kill, but you also had Dylan that slipped the net yet again. Can't keep getting away with this. Polo does find 2 top LST. There's not a whole lot of map position in the favor for the Matadors, but they still have to try to touch this zone and try to stall out this clock. But while that was happening, Quinny is able to slip the net, does find one, tries to snap on Apollo at range, which they won't be able to win that gunfight with relative ease.
Now take a look. I mean, you have at least a tick finally coming in. The first one we've seen so far. And, well, Polo, surprise. Kool-Aid Man right through the door, able to get one. Was, I think, hoping to maybe turn that into a double, but gets cut down. In the meantime, Stuka more than happy to just sit on that point, but does leave it just shy of that tick. Decides to go back in and will be able to get it there. And potentially, if Quinny had pushed in faster, he actually might not get it at all. But there we go. The zone now very close to completion, but Maddie with a double looks to reduce that 3rd tick. And Matadors, this is the most progress we've seen so far, and especially with Dylan potentially causing some chaos in the backline. Again, as you said, it keeps slipping the net, keeps being everywhere you don't expect him to, and now the double double pressure as he hovers around B. Does get taken out by J-Mac as Crimson trying to stabilize here. Now, not a lot of time left, relatively even in lives, but Matadors, what could have almost been an A capture, now you got to figure out where you're going to do as you've been relegated to spawn.
Quinn gets great information off the stun, shuts down Dylan to try to get inside that zone, and also swaps to the MP40 and finds yet another kill. Some body shots there after 17-9 for Quinny is going in towards the next round on a 5 spree. Yeah, the 2 ticks of progression did come through for the Matadors, but even more so than that, Utah did a great job at resurfacing themselves, putting themselves top ring, shutting down middle of the map pressure, making sure that Dylan doesn't get away with highway robbery over by the B zone. No more, I guess, spawn trap situations to incur for Matadors, as Crimson Gaming will at least stay alive for now. 2 ticks of progression is the ask. A full zone capture onto A or B, whatever is easier here for Crimson Gaming, would guarantee themselves a round 5 defense.
Now Quinny straight onto the hill, gets caught with attack in his hand, pays the price for it. Polo with a first blood, but now it's Justin at 12-8, trying to make something happen, able to take out Stuka, can't quite snap onto Polo, who's just generally being a nuisance. Nice hip fire connects. Quinny finally takes him out, but at the lives of probably more than a few that Crimson was willing to spare, but Quinny straight on to the point, working on those ticks, knows that there's 2 on the side of Matadors, none yet for them, as Matadors look to put together their first push. Quinny, nice little corner to wait. Once again, though, gets caught out, trying to switch out guns. Polo now onto the spot. Maddie with a trade, and the first tick comes in. They'll start working on that second one. We'll be able to make fast progress as they have 2 on the point, and just like that, the tick comes in. Maddie ready and waiting. Spots Polo pushing to his left, but now what can you do out in the middle of the map? Well, for Quinny and Justin, get your kills, but again, Polo and Dylan fly in and cause some pressure just shy of the full capture on A.
And J-Mac needs to get activated here, drops down, gets up top LSC, does find that last kill, at least keeps that 3rd tick of progress still in play, but you still have returning members for the Matadors to try to get inside the zone and deplete that 3rd tick of progress. So much work has been done, and it's getting completely depleted, but trades need to start coming through now, sooner rather than later. They're showing at least presence on the A zone. They don't exactly have the middle of the map nor top LSC directly in their favor, as all of the Matadors are trying to catch Crimson Gaming off guard, and well, they were successful in doing that for a certain amount of time, but here comes the 3rd tick of progress. Round 5 defense has been secured for Crimson Gaming. They have a 2-life lead and an extra 60 seconds to try to convert B.
A huge moment for them. Worst comes to worst on this map, as you said. You know that you've got the defense in your back pocket if it goes the distance, and now an impenetrable wall of Matadors set up around that B site. You do have a marginal life lead of just 2, but that could get deleted very swiftly depending on how you try and execute on this first push toward the point. I think J-Mac, nice shots, opens up the windows, connects, and takes out Stuka. Dylan there, though, and Ruben follow it up, getting chased down and punished for it. Justin and J-Mac, Ruben trade after trade, and at the very end of it, 12-13, no progress made toward that point for Crimson, and Matadors hold on. Can they do it for another 50 seconds?
They were trying to go for a back green position. 2 players were back over there, as you were highlighting. Nice shots from J-Mac to maybe open up a concrete stair push, but it just simply won't be there. So back to the respawn. They try to all 4 flood up from top ring, but you have to assume that this is an angle that's going to be watched from head glitches galore behind. Nobody reads that Polo is close. Get some early damage. We'll finally deal with Quinny, who was the last player alive for Crimson Gaming, and try to push up. Now 25 seconds remaining. You got to fly across this map if you are Crimson Gaming, but Dylan's already shutting it down.
And that's just so difficult. Getting to this bomb site, or rather, not the bomb site, rather getting to the B point without losing too many team members in the process is such a difficult task to be able to execute on, and it doesn't matter what record you have in control. It can be extremely tricky to not just trickle out and lose by attrition, and that's exactly what's happening here. At the very end, you just can't seem to make any headway, and you fall short. Yes, you're able to capture that first A point, and that does give you the defense to rely on, but it almost seems like something interesting happens when it comes to offenses for teams in round 5 of control proper. I feel like people always manage to pull something weird out of their back pocket.
Yeah, we'll have to see, right? I mean, it's definitely in the cards to say that maybe Dylan just goes completely AWOL. They're only 18 and 19 now. Same with their, I guess, their SMG duos. It may be for Polo, maybe to try to find a further amount of value. And this is a very risky call coming out from the Matadors. They have to win this offensive round if they want to extend the series to a map number 4. They go for ring control. They fully clear it out. But Justin is back here, finds 2 kills. That'll stop the B push from happening dead in its tracks.
And then the rest of Crimson floods up. They say, are you really going for the same play from round one? And, well, Matadors, the answer is, maybe we shouldn't have. They do get a couple of kills here, but that B push is stalled out. Now you're already down by 3 lives. A beautiful job by Justin to spot that out and convert it into at least 2 kills. But now the push comes in. Dylan able to get a cheeky kill around A and tries to climb up, take control of top boat. Quinny, though, continuing to be a nuisance. Stuka with a trade, but then as more fall around him, it's really just Dylan trying to preserve his life alongside Stuka, giving his team time to get to him. But that's not happening as J-Mac and Justin, again, both on 3 sprees, are able to push his team back, and now Dylan will finally fall to J-Mac Stuka with the trade. But this push just seems to have been disastrous for both these teams each time they've tried it.
Glide Bomb also got called in. That's going to buy a lot of space, but Ruben is also able to get themselves all the way over by the B zone. And Polo, the whereabouts to turn and burn on a Maddie coming up the concrete stairs might extend this play. They have ring control. They're also working up that single tick of progress at B. It has been achieved. But even more so than that, you have to deal with the players that can easily toss nades inside of this B laner and get Ruben out. There it is.
J-Mac with a double, the headshots, the nade to couple it up. Polo again playing his life so effectively, now on 3, just looking to secure that second tick, able to get it, but gets stunned. Quinny flies around. Can he secure the kill? Yes, but you only have 12 seconds left. If you're the Matadors, you have to fly. If it's not B, then it has to be A, and there's Maddie trying to play his life, wait for his team to get him, see if he can get a pick or 2, and well, yes, it helps when they're not even looking at you unless you can't hit your shots and you get taken out. Now the first tick in, more than halfway through A, as Matadors fight for their lives. 11 to 13 lives remaining, as again, 2 ticks at A, 2 ticks at B. Justin finally takes out Dylan, but time stalled once again, and if they can get this final tick proper, that could be huge for the Matadors.
It's kind of risky, isn't it? I mean, they're still throwing lives. Our Crimson Gaming to try to at least get this A zone back in their favor. They've lost so many lives, but at least the trades will be there. Still hold this 4-life lead. The kill comes through on Apollo, and they're shutting down Dylan to try to push over towards B. 5 seconds remaining, and nobody's in immediate position besides Ruben to try to get onto this zone, but they gotta deal with Quinny, and they simply cannot. The Matadors, they'll be shut down off of some heroics at the end of the Gavutu control. They'll be sent home packing in round 5 and for their 2022 season.
A fraction of a second away from capping A. As he gets cut down, I'm sure, so certain in that death that a minute of time must be added to the clock, but not the case for the Matadors. That is atrocious levels of timing for them. Excellent for Crimson. You win yourself that map, you get that kill, and at that point, Matadors, you simply can't even get to a point on time. The time that you were hoping to rely on by securing A, blown out of the water. And once again, Crimson, map after map after map, they're able to clutch up. They have the ice in those pivotal moments to deny Matadors that final inch that they need to make headway. So congratulations, a nice 3-0 for them. Matadors, they were competitive to be sure, but I think there's maybe some VOD if they choose to watch it that'd be very, very useful to them to learn from.
Commiserations for sure for California State University Northridge. The Matadors will see an abrupt end to any hopes of making it into playoffs. They just had to win this one series versus the University of Utah to be able to do it, and even from top to bottom, you can see again, it was mostly just, again, the ARs when you're really thinking about 25 and 17 for Justin, shut down that B zone push twice over. Keep in mind, you already highlighted it was the same showing for the Matadors in round 5 as it was for round 1, and Justin is just playing on that back seawall, just finds those 2 kills, shuts down the push, the flood comes through. J-Mac was always right there to shut things down continuously. Goes on another 5, 331 and 21 from them. And even though Polo did get themselves that glide bomb, it opened up the space to be provided to at least get themselves over by the B zone. You still had 2 players for the Matadors that were lurking top ring. Nobody was putting themselves in a further forward position to deal with the reinforcements. Knowing that the nades are going to come through, CSUN did not have any positional advantage to try to deal with players for Crimson Gaming to try to get themselves back over to the B zone, contest the time, and to stall out the Matadors for getting themselves that B zone. As we take a look at the best of 5 series, it'll be quite telling. This honestly couldn't have been a more competitive 3 maps that were played out of the 5.
No, it was an incredibly close series, and again, it was Crimson just edging out with that ice factor to be able to clutch up when they needed to. And I just watched it again on the stream, actually, and watching the way that Maddie just flew around that corner and beams Dylan, takes him out, and you could hardly even see there. It looked like that A point was secured, was how little space there was for that capture. Dylan even a fraction of a second more, and he gets that, but it's Maddie with that final icy play at the very end. And Crimson, yeah, you said it. I mean, this series, I think this is about as close, realistically, as you can ever ask a 3-0 to be. So, Matadors, if you walk away with this, yes, there were blunders that were made there in a really real fashion. It could have been a 2-0 going in to that control, but you got to also be happy with how you played, too, because this 3-0 is extremely close. You played it very well. Unfortunately, just not enough to get across the finish line.
Just simply was not enough to be able to get across the finish line, both in the Search and Destroy and the hard play. It would have been a very different look in some different moments of time there. But end of the season for the Matadors, we'll have to go back, watch some of that VOD, get the team prepped and reworked whenever we're thinking about anything that's happening through the summer for them, if not going into College COD season 2023. But congratulations to the University of Utah. Crimson Gaming will find themselves in Group B with Redbirds, with LA Tech. We saw them earlier today with the Redbirds winning out in map number 5. Going up against Oklahoma Christian, I believe will end up being their first matchup. More matches, of course. Playoffs are here. We are full in effect in the postseason for College COD season 2022. And it honestly feels like that the entire season has completely breezed on by. But still, more action to incur here on the same time, same place, here at twitch.tv/collegecod and twitch.tv/collegecod Bravo. Make sure that you're here tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter at collegecod, so that way you know when the streams go live and all of the top plays to be happening throughout the entirety of the postseason. On behalf of all the production here tonight for College COD, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.